Hi friends, welcome back to Unveiling Buddhism. Today, we rejoin the journey alongside Siddhartha as he begins his life as a Shramana. After bidding farewell to his loyal companion Channa, Shramana Siddhartha set forth on foot from the banks of river Anoma towards the city of Rajagriha. Rajagriha is an ancient city with a long history and has hosted many prominent spiritual leaders and teachers. Siddhartha believed that some of these teachers might hold the key to enlightenment, and therefore he went there in search of the best, hoping to learn from them. For 7 days, Siddhartha traversed the unforgiving landscape on foot, his resolve unyielding as he made his pilgrimage to Rajagriha city. As he entered the city gates, Siddhartha was greeted by the vibrant atmosphere of a bustling marketplace because a grand festival had just concluded. Despite his royal lineage, Siddhartha humbled himself to the practice of alms begging. For the first time in his life, he had to beg for food from one household to another. However, his presence captivated the crowds, drawing the gaze of many who marveled at his serene countenance, graceful demeanor, and handsome appearance. Some even speculated if Shramana Siddhartha was a deity walking amongst mortals and began to follow Siddhartha around the city. King Bimbisara, the ruler of Rajagriha, became aware of this commotion from the balcony of his palace. Intrigued by the spectacle unfolding in the marketplace, King Bimbisara ordered a palace guard to keep a watchful eye on the enigmatic Shramana. After receiving sufficient food in his alms bowl, Siddhartha retreated to a hill outside of Rajagriha to eat his meal, and the palace guard duly reported back to King Bimbisara. Siddhartha involuntarily gagged and wanted to throw up when he was about to start eating. The sight and smell was simply too repulsive for Siddhartha because he had been accustomed to delicacies since birth.
Can you explain more about alms begging? Why is the food repulsive?
Yes, of course. In ancient societies, food scarcity was common due to the absence of industrialized agricultural practices. Meat was considered a luxury and mainly consumed by wealthy households. For most people, their daily meals were mostly limited to legumes, vegetables, fruits, grains, dairy products, and honey. With no refrigeration, daily meals were a challenge for some families, and most families only cook in the morning to save cooking fuel. Beggars and monks would seek alms early in the morning when food was freshly available. But wait, not everyone will offer freshly cooked food. People could ignore, shoo away, or offer whatever they could to beggars. In short, receiving the charity of others is not a given privilege. Donations varied from a spoonful of rice to better quality food, and sometimes even stale gruel. In that manner, alms food consists of a mixture of fresh and stale, good and poor quality food. That could be berries and fruits, rice and gruel, curries, fermented sides, meats, vegetables, and whatever people put into the alms bowl. Everything became mixed up.
Yucks! Now I can understand why Siddhartha gagged when he first encountered alms food. It sounds more like food waste in a restaurant garbage bin.
Well, Siddhartha managed to overcome his aversion by reminding himself about his goal of enlightenment. In that manner, Siddhartha managed to eat his first alms meal with plenty of mindfulness. Meanwhile, King Bimbisara was on his way to meet the enigmatic Siddhartha and arrived shortly after Siddhartha had finished his meal. Upon meeting Siddhartha, King Bimbisara was struck by his presence and mannerisms. He extended an offer of kingship, inviting Siddhartha to rule alongside him and share in the wealth and power of the kingdom. Siddhartha then revealed his royal lineage and declined King Bimbisara's offer, expressing his unwavering commitment to the pursuit of enlightenment. Moved by Siddhartha's determination, King Bimbisara bid him farewell, but not before requesting Siddhartha to return to Rajagriha city upon attaining enlightenment. Oh my, what an insightful journey! After learning about the hardship of alms begging, we realized that Buddha Shakyamuni was not just sitting on an altar, waiting for people to worship him when he was alive. His life after renunciation was tough. Since we are talking about food, let us explore the age-old question in the realm of Buddhism. Does a Buddhist need to be a vegetarian? It's a query that has stirred debate and contemplation among practitioners for centuries. Join us as we delve into the depths of Buddhist philosophy and tradition to uncover the nuances of this intriguing topic. In the days of the Buddha, sustenance for the monastic disciples was sourced from alms rounds. The Buddha, in his wisdom, did not mandate vegetarianism. Instead, he emphasized practicality. Monks and nuns were to accept whatever alms were offered, recognizing the limitations of their benefactors. When a senior disciple suggested that a vegetarian diet be made compulsory, Buddha Shakyamuni rejected that proposal. Now, before we continue, let's not start imagining that monks and nuns during the Buddha's time received entire bowls of fried chickens, steaks, meatloaf, and so on. In reality, the diet of the monastics predominantly comprised of grains, vegetables, and fruits. Why? Well, back then, meat was a luxury afforded by only a select few. Most families could only offer humble offerings of legumes, vegetables, and grains. Meat, if provided, was a rare treat. But as time progressed, so did customs and practices. Modern Buddhists, out of respect and admiration, began offering meat excessively to monks. However, this well-intentioned gesture can lead to an imbalance in their diet. So remember to offer a balanced diet too. Now, let's explore the emergence of vegetarianism in certain Buddhist schools. While the Buddha's teachings emphasized non-harming, vegetarianism was not universally adopted in early Buddhism. As the faith spread across different cultures, Buddhist dietary practices began to diversify. In Tibetan, Theravada, and some Japanese Buddhism, meat consumption isn't considered a taboo. Each tradition adapts to its cultural context. Take Chinese Buddhism, for example. It wasn't until centuries after its introduction that vegetarianism gained prominence. In ancient China, emperors and citizens alike made meat offerings to monasteries, according to the guidelines taught by Buddha. This guideline is referred to as pure meat. This refers to meat procured without witnessing or hearing the animal's slaughter. And the animal must not be slaughtered specifically for anyone. In short, meat purchased from a marketplace was good for consumption by Buddhists. The Buddha also instructed us to avoid consuming 10 specific types of meat, including those of humans, elephants, horses, dogs, snakes, lions, tigers, leopards, bears, and hyenas. This prohibition stemmed from two main reasons. First, these animals were predators, and their flesh could attract other predators to the monastics who live in the wilderness, disrupting their peaceful existence with nature. Second, some of these animals were culturally regarded as royal or higher beings, and to adhere to societal norms and respect cultural customs. The disciples were advised against consuming their flesh, even if offered. Over time, circular laws began to influence dietary practices. The Chinese Emperor Wu of Liang, who was a faithful Buddhist, mandated vegetarianism for monastics, shaping the landscape of Chinese Buddhism. Today, many Chinese Buddhists adhere to a vegetarian diet, both in monastic communities and among the laity. So, back to the question, does a Buddhist need to be vegetarian? The answer is no, and dietary preference is entirely a personal decision. While some may choose to abstain from meat out of compassion for all living beings, others may follow the path laid out by tradition and culture. Ultimately, what matters most is not our diet, but our mind. As a wise monk pointed out, surely an evil vegetarian cannot be better than a virtuous non-vegetarian. If a vegetarian diet is key to enlightenment and wisdom, then all the cows should already be enlightened. As with all aspects of Buddhist philosophy, it's a journey of self-discovery and personal choice. Alright, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up and share this video. We'll see you in the next episode of Unveiling Buddhism. May your path be filled with wisdom and compassion, whatever dietary choices you make.